Captured by Women is brought to you by Nido Fortigro. Your love, their future.
A very good afternoon to you. You're watching TV3 and you're tuned into your favorite Saturday afternoon show, Captured by Women. Well, what a very eventful week we've had. So on our show today, we are looking at some of the issues that came up during the week. Our first take would be to look at Honorable Ras Mubarak's decision to ride a bicycle to Parliament to register his displeasure over the high cost of living in the country. What we are asking is that, is this a genuine call to government to act, or is it just another politically motivated stunt? We'll also talk about the deaths on the Adinsa Madina Highway and what the duty bearers are doing about it. We speak to a member of the assembly and also engage one of the drivers' unions members to talk about how they feel every day having to work from there. The Ghana Union of Technical Students are also agitating over the delay in the payment of their loans. So we speak to the leadership of the union and also hear from the PRO of the Student Loan Trust Fund to find out what the issues are. I'm co-hosting the show today with Dr. Nanama Ajiman. My name is Rosemond Aite, and as always, the show is sponsored by GTP, by Amvita, and by Nido. Please stay with us. The show continues after these messages.
On Tuesday, the Member of Parliament for Kumbungu rode to Parliament on a bicycle. He says he did this to register his displeasure concerning the high cost of fuel and really to try and show what the plight of Ghanaians was to Parliament. But whether this was exactly what he got out to do, I don't know. Because, you know, Rosemond, when he goes there with a bicycle, we all applaud him. I was happy because it was exercise. And so for me, it was nothing new. I thought it was good for him to do that. But then he says he's trying to, you know, hit home the message of the Ghanaians and the plight that we face. But interestingly, when the atmosphere changed, he parked the bicycle and called for an Uber.
So we hear.
My dear Ras Mubarak, the ordinary Ghanaian in his plight will not have the opportunity to be able to park his bicycle and opt for an Uber. Yeah. So really, if that was it, then I think we lost the import of it. But interestingly, he talks about other things which I'm sure will let viewers in on. And I think those are the salient points we also have to look at, because he talks about the other conditions, the other hardships. You know, someone earning 100 cedis and it not being enough. But I think they should put the politics aside, because truthfully, this is not only MPP's times that we've seen it. I think it's happened across board in governments that I have lived to see. And it's that constant disappointment of what the politician would want to say he's doing for you, but truth be told on the ground, that's not what is happening. Because if we are really concerned, I would expect that when we talk about the Madina-Denton Highway, in 10 days, when people start protesting, you will move in swiftly to do something about it. And we won't hear someone giving an excuse of the contract was not handed over or, you know, back and forth. When it comes to healthcare, we wouldn't have someone 71-year-old father dying in a hospital because of, you know, being sent away because of no bed syndrome and still have to talk about it today. So I think we play politics with everything and we play it as a game.
For me, I think that, I mean, his idea or the motive for doing that may be laudable, right? But the question is it sustainable and meaningful to the ordinary Ghanaian? I mean, if his idea or the original motive is to get government to act, what I think would work is rather for the parliamentary group in government to pressurize the leaders that be to remove the petroleum taxes that, you know, people are talking about for it to be taken off. Look at the collapse in the banking sector. We know that the investigations are going on, but up to now, we know that what measures have been taken in terms of punitive action. Maybe we'll see that later. So if he wants to do something meaningful, it's good, but it has to be sustainable and something that will have a direct impact on people's lives.
For those of you who missed it, let's watch what exactly the parliamentarian tells Evelyn Tima in this interview.
8:40 a.m. Tuesday, MP for Kumbungu Ras Mubarak riding on a bicycle. This is unusual. According to the opposition NDC Member of Parliament for Kumbungu, he is up to the task, 17 kilometers daily to and from work, Parliament House the destination, and he is prepared, safety first, as he rides along.
This is fresh coconut juice, no additives. 2 bottles, and that should be enough. Then my handkerchief.
So what triggered the legislator to ride a bicycle to Parliament, an unusual practice?
And this particular exercise is to highlight, is to bring home the levels of suffering that our compatriots, that the good people of Ghana are going through under this administration. You hear people, expressing frustrations, exasperations about the rising cost of living in the country. And I sincerely believe that as representatives of the people, it is our duty to voice out the concerns of our constituents.
Riding bicycles to the workplace is common in other parts of the world. Ras Mubarak may have been the first sitting MP in Ghana under the Fourth Republic to ride a bicycle to work, but not the first around the world. Presidents and prime ministers of Netherlands, France and Romania have ridden bicycles to work. Former UK Foreign Secretary Boris Johnson was also noted for his love for riding the bicycle to work. On a continent like Africa, where some state officials are noted for the love of convoys, perhaps the use of bicycles for short trips could be ideal as the world edges closer to having a green economy. For Ras Mubarak, the experience has been an eye-opener.
It's also given me an indication of what commuters who use bicycle, pedestrians, what they go through. A lot of our drivers are not careful on the road, particularly trot drivers and taxi drivers. Going through this exercise would be to champion a situation where the Ministry of Roads and Highways would also mark out not just pedestrian walkway, but bicycle lanes.
It is unclear if the gesture is in sympathy with masses who say economic conditions are biting hard or just to score political points. With a traffic congestion in Accra expected to peak during the Christmas season, riding a bicycle to work may help ease the situation. Evelyn Tingma, TV3 News, Accra.
Well, so you heard it there for yourselves. He's talking about all other things apart from what he did, riding the bicycle to. Yes, indeed, fuel cost is high, but he extends it beyond talking about just fuel to economic hardships. And I'm wondering, when they go to Parliament, really, if they say they're passionate about their constituents, we should be doing more than just riding the bicycle to try and show the plight of your Ghanaians, because that's not the truth of what happened. You've done this just once, and this is a 17-kilometer stretch, but this is something that people do back and forth every day.
But I hear he plans to do it,
continuously.
Well,
but, on the first day, it didn't work.
It rained, yes. So, back to my point again. So, let's see something more concrete. Let's see, more, the minority being more vocal, pressurizing government to do what they must do. You talked about the Adinta Madina issue, which we'll talk about in a bit on the Big Bang. These are direct things. The whole of this week, that has been about the biggest story that has gotten people agitated. We want things that are sustainable, that are meaningful. Right. Yes, this may, because it's the first of its kind, yes, it will get the kind of publicity, but we want something that is more sustainable.
But when he did that, I was also, caught up with the whole phenomenon of riding bicycles to work or to school. And I was thinking, could we actually start it? Because we know certain countries that actually employ these mechanisms, even though they have better transport systems. Exactly. But I'm looking at, how ex-former President Kufuor brought about the African print issue, where now we're patronizing it by wearing it on Fridays, now it's spread. I'm looking at, could we choose one day in the weekend, let's say everyone should try and ride a bicycle to maybe reduce, because we have to think about our health. You know how our vehicles are not, majority of them are really not roadworthy. And so we're putting out smoke and fumes that we're inhaling. Maybe if we took one day out of all these days, would reduce, the whole fumes we are bringing out from our exhaust. We could also be helping our cardio. You're doing cardio exercise when you ride a bicycle. We could improve our health. Maybe we have to look at it in a more sustainable and dynamic way. When you do that, obviously, we're cutting down the fuel you use in a week. And so, of course, you save some money.
I think in the jurisdictions that these are done, the transport system and the transport infrastructure
and the
are more developed. I know, are more developed.
Yeah.
Here,
it's not
you would, God forbid, but what would likely happen is that you'll be knocked off the road. So, on that stretch, maybe something that can start a conversation about, but
bicycle
yeah,
lanes but with Okadas, occupying every part of the road now, we seriously have to talk about demarcation. So maybe there's a motor road, there's a bicycle lane, whatever it is, so that these things are. So but anyway, we've ranted, and that's our take. Whatever your views are, I hope you share with us. But that's all time will allow us to talk about on this spin. So we'll take a break. We'll be back with more. We are proudly sponsored by Nido and GTP. Stay with us. Don't change the channel. It was constructed to ease traffic and also allow safe passage of pedestrians from one side of the road to another. But unfortunately, it has become a death trap only because footbridges haven't been fixed. We are talking about the Adenta Madinan High Road, which has claimed over 200 lives this year. Joining us in studio to discuss this is Munkaila Mustafa. He is the GPRTU chairman at the Adenta SDA taxi rank. We'll also be joined on phone by Charles Ashalijani. He is the Municipal Coordinating Director for La Nkwantanan Madina Municipal Assembly. Good afternoon, Munkaila. So you are the one on the ground and you see these things happening. Tell us or paint a picture of what is happening at Adenta and SDA, taxi rank for us.
It's too very bad. We are not happy with that.
Right.
I think let's take it from last year. Many people are dying over there. One of our guy called Okriku. He was from Westside, come and join taxi from there to his house. He just crossed the road, car knocked him straight away to mortuary. After that, we had another guy called Godfred. He was coming from Westside, then car knocking over there. So we are not very happy over there. It's too bad for us.
Right.
The footbridge are not fixing. The traffic light is not working. Right. Even the street light, they are all not working. So it's so very bad for us.
Very well. We are joined on phone by Mr. Charles Ashalijani. He's the Municipal Coordinating Director for La Nkwantanan Madina Municipal Assembly. Good afternoon, Mr. Jani.
Good afternoon.
So we're talking about the La Nkwantanan Road and the fact that the Adenta Madina Road, and the fact that the footbridges haven't been constructed and many people are losing their lives. What is the Assembly's role, or what is the challenge with making sure that this road is constructed with footbridges to allow the people don't die, but their lives are saved? What are you doing about it?
If you look at the quantum of money needed for the construction of the bridges, is beyond the threshold of the Assembly. It's even beyond the threshold of the regional entity tender committee. It's international, the national. So it was awarded at that particular level. Right. Ours is to make sure that the project is completed and handed over to us. Then we see our people who are living in the municipality make use of it. As of now, we don't even have any document on it. It's beyond our threshold. So for now, there's nothing that we can do as an assembly. Our about 10 years resources can never fix those footbridges. They are about 5 to 6 in normal in the municipality. So normally it's the Ministry of Highways, roads and highways. They are in charge of those things.
But Mr. Jani, let me come in at this point. At your level, what are you able to do? What is your mandate regarding the current situation we have at hand?
What we can do is that we make sure that we have our 6 guards who help the people to cross the roads during the daytime. By the night, when there is no street light, it's not very difficult for our own staff. So all that we can advise that maybe MTTD, if they can intensify the number of officers who will be there to control who are speeding on the road, it will be of a good help to us. Because the traffic light at that particular end, we try to fix it. We went there, they told us that we have a special contractor who was doing assignment, and they were asking the guy we engaged to bring certain documents. That's where it came down. So it wasn't that we don't care. We make efforts, but our resources can't fix some of them. That's why we have the situation.
But it appears even that particular, this particular intervention even is faulty, because if you say you have guards on there who help people to cross, on Monday when this incident happened, one can say that the guards were not on site. That is why this incident recurred.
Oh, no, I don't think it's a person who was crossing the road at that particular time. Let us also use this particular platform to advise them that they have to exercise maximum patience. Otherwise, a whole lot of deaths will continue to occur. Because the way they are feeling, I believe that if we can get the MTTD to be at those places, it will help a lot.
But who should get the MTTD? You are the assembly, and you are the first, when it comes to local governance, you are about the, I think, the first government agency that has a direct contact with the people. So if you keep saying somebody should get the MTTD, aren't you supposed to be the one engaging the MTTD directly on this front?
No, we have central government and we have local government. The police falls under the central government. They are not under the local government. We engage them as a collaborators, but we don't have the strong because they work under the Ministry of Interior, they are the Ministry of Local Government. So I think if you are able to look at the status of the various ministries and this, you appreciate our concern. We don't have enough budget to control those things.
Very well. Anyway, let's say thank you to you, Mr. Charles Ashalijani. He's the Municipal Coordinating Director for the Latin Kwantanan Medina Municipal Assembly. We certainly hope that the Assembly can find a better way to deal with it rather than pushing it to the doorstep of other people.
This is hardly consolatory.
It is. But let's come back to Munkaila. So you heard him. And what's your take on that? Are you happy with the response you're getting from the Assembly?
I'm not happy. An accident happened on Thursday as I'm coming. So I think the lady just cruised from school. Okay. Crossing the road to the house, then car knocked him straight away.
We are on the Adenta Medina Highway, and specifically we are standing at the Was Junction or the barrier, Adenta barrier. And this road has gained lots of popularity for the wrong reasons. For the wrong reasons because lots and lots of lives have been lost here. As we are speaking, over 200 lives have been lost on this particular stretch. Residents have been agitating, and no one is listening to them. When a schoolgirl was knocked down and killed by a driver, a speeding driver, residents couldn't take it any longer, and they had to block the road here. They bent tires, and police had to come in. The fire service had to come in, and the residents are complaining that the police fired tear gas and hot water on them, which they are so much displeased about. And we have been speaking to them about what they feel of this particular situation on the stretch.
We don't want any other person to die again. Look at, now we have about 40 policemen all on this road. Suddenly, this road is a presidential lane. Suddenly, this highway is a presidential highway. Now we have 40 policemen at vantage points directing traffic. What kind of country is this?
Let people die before you do this.
We are saying that this issue falls on the doorstep of Ghana Highway Authority. They are the worst government institution in this country. It is out of their negligence, their irresponsibility, and lack of responsiveness. That is where we are. And this is a word of caution to Ghana Road Safety Commission. What are they doing?
They can't knock one of our students, just 7 years, a class 1 child. The 10th place, barrier here. So I'm pleading to him, I'm begging Nana, he should come and help us to do the bypass for us.
I mean, for those of you who work there, when you see these things happen, how are you able to even go back there to work, knowing that you are daily faced with this challenge of possibly going to work and not coming back home?
Yeah, I think since this thing started from last year, I'm not very happy to work over there. Because when you are there, I don't know, maybe you can even cross the road. Exactly. The car is coming, the traffic light is not working. If you are not taking time, somebody will hit you. So as of that, so I stopped working over there.
So you've moved?
Because of traffic light. Okay. Because I'm scared. So I think if the lights are not fixing, it's not happy for us. In this government, so let's take it in 2019, we are going to vote. So if the government don't even fix the road, so it will be a problem for him.
2020, you mean? 2020, yeah. The elections will be next
election, yeah. So it will be a problem for him.
Anyway, so your final words, if you had the chance to meet either the Minister for Road and Transport, what are you going to ask them to do for you?
Okay, as at now, I'm talking, the street is a very good for us. They are doing it. So the traffic light is not working. I'll ask him to fix it.
Right.
The footbridge, maybe let's take it, maybe my father or my grandfather wanted to close. There's no footbridge. Right. He can't close. Yeah. At the same time, the street light too are not working. They're supposed to fix it.
So at least these three main things you expect them to fix. Anyway, on that sad note, we have been talking about the Adenta Medina Highway and the fact that the footbridges have still not been constructed 10 years down the line. And everyone seems to be shirking the responsibility and moving it to another person's doorstep. But Media General is campaigning and saying Adenta can't wait. It's time for us to speak and make sure there's solution to the fact that they need the footbridges. We would all join our hands to support, to make sure those footbridges are constructed. We'll take a break. We'll be back with more here on Captured by Women. Stay with us.
So the Ghana National Union of Technical Students have been agitating and asking the Students' Loan Trust Fund to release monies for them to pay their school fees. We want to understand what the issues are. So we have joining us via phone Michael Nyametiase, who's the PRO of the union, to give us some more details as to what exactly is going on. Good afternoon and thanks for joining us on Captured by Women.
Good afternoon.
We want to understand the root causes of your agitation, and can you give us some more information?
Ghana National Union of Technical Students, over the week or over the month, we've been getting complaints from our students that most of them actually depend on the Students' Loan Trust Fund in order to pursue the academic excellence. And you see, over the years, you apply for this loan, and in 2 weeks' time, you get the loan. But now, this very year, this very semester, students applied for this loan, and it's been 2 months now, and still counting. The loan aren't forthcoming. And so this is the problem right now. You see, SLTF, which is Student Loan Trust Fund, was established in the year 2005. And their core mandate is to reimburse monies to students that are qualified to get the loan. And so if SLTF is not reimbursing these monies, it simply means government is not pumping money into the fund. That is not pumping money into SLTF. That is why they are not also reimbursing.
Michael,
so we are calling upon.
On that note, I would want to find out, is that what the Students' Loan Trust Fund has communicated to you, or that is only your assumption? Because we would want to find out what the real details coming from the trust fund is to you, whether you've communicated to them through any means to be able to get a response as to why this is happening in this particular year.
Actually, I can't really give you a very direct answer to this, but all I can tell you is that we, as student leadership, we as the union, SLTF is a stakeholder. Okay, we work hand in hand with them, and we know the way they work since 2005. If only they have the money. You see, their core mandate is to reimburse money to students, and so if they are not reimbursing money, it simply means there is no money.
Very well. Michael, let me ask you again. Have you been able to engage with the Students' Loan Trust Fund to find out what the details are? Because in other times, we've had situations where it is, based on poor information that has been received from the students, such as the filling of documents, it probably went wrong. That's how come some of them stalled. So I just want to be sure if you've been able to communicate with them to find out what the challenge is as at now. Because I don't believe the Students' Loan Trust Fund has come to tell you anything that government is not feeding in money into the fund at this particular point.
Actually, we've been communicating with SLTF, and they keep telling us that we should take our time and they will give us the money. We should wait for a week and sometime monies are coming. They don't really tell us their challenges.
The challenge, right.
Okay. They don't tell us their challenges. All they tell us is that we should be peaceful and we should remain focused on the money are going to come. But these loans aren't forthcoming. Right. Okay, so we know for sure that there is no money. And if government has pumped money into SLTF, for sure they will reimburse it. We have less than a month for the semester to close. And you know, we close the semester with writing of examination. Right. And if you haven't put your bill, if you haven't paid your fees, you won't be able to write this examination.
When did the process actually start? When did the engagement with the trust fund start?
Actually, our engagement with SLTF started more or less a month ago. Okay, and it started, even though we have a good relationship with them already. But we started getting these complaints from our students that they actually pass through this innovative and tedious processes getting this loan. And they've actually executed their part of the contractual agreement. And it's for government to also give the loan. That is also they executing their part of the agreement. And that ain't forthcoming.
Finally, I want to find out from the union what you have been able to put in place to make sure that at any point in time, if the loans do not come in time, what happens? What other sources of funding are you going to be looking at to make sure that students in these technical universities at least complete their education?
Actually, the Ghana National Union of Technical Students, we actually comprises of all the technical universities, the polytechnics, some technical institutions, and we have students and actually we advocate for them. And we are, as we are doing right now, we are advocating to the government that the government should bring the loans.
Very well. But the question was, what other sources can we start looking at, or have you thought of looking at in the absence of the Students' Loan Trust Fund?
That is why I'm saying that. You see, we have students which over the years, they've been looking up to government giving them loans. And they've been getting the loans. It's been working for them. And so still they are looking up to government. Because they turn left and right and they haven't got nobody to support them. That's why you're looking up to government. And they look up to government over the semesters and government help them. And so it's not forthcoming. So they don't know where to turn to. And so we are reminding government that we know this government really loves education, and that's why he established free SHS and all that. But he should look at the tertiary students.
Very well.
Because we are actually people who need the loan are struggling with the loans.
And I'm sure government has heard you. On that note, we'd like to say thank you to Michael Nyametiase, Public Relations Officer for the Ghana National Union of Technical Students, talking about the delay in the loans that are supposed to be granted to them by the Students' Loan Trust Fund. So still staying on this matter, we're going to talk to Mr. George Ferguson Lane. He is the Public Relations Manager at the Students' Loan Trust Fund. Good afternoon, Mr. Lane.
Good afternoon, madam.
We spoke to Mr. Michael Nyamiche, the Public Relations Officer for the Ghana National Union of Technical Students, and he's saying the loans have been delayed for over 2 months, but Students' Trust Fund hasn't been able to give them any concrete reason as to why this is happening.
Yes, there has been a delay. I will beg to differ with the statement that we have not given them any concrete reason. The truth is that we've been in constant communication with all the student bodies, all the student unions. We understand their frustration. We know that the student loan is used by students for various things, including tuition fees and hostel fees. And we're doing everything we can to ensure that we can pay the money as quickly as possible. We are working closely with the Ministry of Education. We are working closely with the Ministry of Finance. We are working with the GET Fund. And I am quite certain that we should be able to achieve normalcy in the next couple of weeks.
But can you give us just a slight idea as to exactly what has caused this stalling? Because he says you have been doing so well since 2015, but in these past 2 months, you seem to have failed them.
Yeah, what has happened is that we've had an upsurge in applications, which is primarily due to the fact that we increased the loan amount by about 50%, and that has made it a bit more attractive to a lot more students. So it's put some strain on us.
So the reason isn't that the trust fund is cash trapped?
No, we're facing some challenges, but this is not a long-term thing. It's a short-term thing. We're now coming to grips with the numbers, and we'll be back to normal. It's not a serious situation.
I remember there was some agitation about the increments that you had planned to do for the loan. Do you think then, looking back, that maybe that decision to increase the loan was too rapid? Maybe you should have waited until you sorted out every single one on your list and made sure you had some money in the coffers before you did that?
You know, the idea of the loan is to assist students, is to help them to be able to afford certain things. Some of them use it to pay for hostels, some of them use it for their fees, some of them use it for basic day-to-day stuff. Now, if the amount is not realistic, if it's too small, then it becomes more or less a joke. You understand? It would be like we are just paying people for the sake of it. Right. There has to be an amount that can go some way in decreasing the burden on the students. Very well. And that was the thinking behind the increase in the loan.
But before you go, George, are they the only students group that is affected by the delay of the release of these funds?
To all tertiary institutions that are accredited. All students who are pursuing accredited programs in accredited institutions are qualified to take the loan. So it's something that is affecting tertiary institutions across the country.
Finally, in the event that the money doesn't reach these students before they're to take their exam, which technically means that they will not be allowed to write their final exam.
Can you repeat that?
I'm asking that in the event that the monies do not reach the students before they write exam, what would happen?
Yeah.
What would the Students' Loan Trust Fund do on their behalf to make sure that they go through, the academic year successfully?
Yeah. Well, what we do, we are able to have some arrangements with some of the authorities, some of the university or some of the tertiary institution authorities, where we give some sort of undertaking that, yes, these students are on our loan and we haven't paid them yet, and we are going to pay them soon.
Very well.
But the challenge is that we've, in the past, done those kind of guarantees, and the students, once they've received the loan, have not paid their fees. And we are not, by law, allowed to pay the loans directly to the institution. So it has to go to the student.
Right.
So when the student makes an undertaking with our support to pay once they receive the loan, there is very little we can do to enforce it. And therefore, it makes some of the authorities uncomfortable coming to those agreements with us. Some have done it, others are reluctant to do it.
Very well. But finally, to allay their fears or their anxiety, when do you think the monies may be paid?
We're looking at a period of about 2 weeks.
Well, on that note, let me say thank you to you, Mr. George Ferguson Lane. He is the Public Relations Manager for the Students' Loan Trust Fund. And we have been talking about the fact that the Ghana National Union of Technical Students has been agitating over the loan delay. And he's tried to give us some answers to that. He says in 2 weeks, hopefully, the monies will be released. Well, all too soon, the show is coming to an end. Let's just remind you of what we talked about here on the show. We spoke about the fact that MP for Kumbungu, Ras Mubarak, rode to Parliament on a bicycle on Tuesday, and he says this was to drive home the protest against high fuel prices and cost of living that is extremely high for the average Ghanaian. Definitely, we thought that was a good thing in sense of health, but certainly may not be sustainable. We're finding a more sustainable way to drive home our issues on the ground. But also we spoke about a Denton, a road that was constructed to give life is suddenly causing too many death tolls, and we're worried. We raised some concerns. We had Mukaila Mustafa, the Denton SDA taxi rank GPRTU chairman, talking about their issues and the fact that there's fear and panic in the area for even those who work there. We also spoke to the municipal assembly to find out what they're doing, and certainly we weren't pleased with their answers, but we hope that duty bearers will take up the task and do something about it. Then finally, we spoke about the Students' Loan Trust Fund and the delays in paying the loans for students of the technical universities and their agitation. But there has been some clearance about what the issue is and the fact that maybe in 2 weeks their monies will be released. So we hope that their money is released so students can confidently finish their academic year successfully. But that's all we did on the show. We hope you stick and stay with us same time next week when we air at 3 p.m. on your favorite TV station, TV3. It is Captured by Women, hosted by myself and Rosemond. We are proudly sponsored by GTP and Nido. Do have yourselves a very, very lovely weekend. Stay blessed.
Captured by Women is brought to you by Nido Fortigro. Your love, their future.